Hi, in this video, I'll be taking you through the step-by-step processes which you can use to design this amazing church flyer using Photoshop. I hope you are doing great today. If you are new to this channel, kindly click on this video to watch and don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. You will learn a lot. And if you are old here, I salute you, okay? I thank you for sticking around to watch my videos. I will be making this video very simple for both beginners and professional graphic designers. So let me quickly take you to my system and teach you how you can make this powerful design using just Photoshop. Okay, so make sure you watch to the end and ask me any question you don't understand. If there is anything you would like me to also teach you in graphic designing, ask me at the comment section and I'll be there to answer you. Thank you.
For us to create this church flyer, the first thing we are going to do is to click on create new. When you click on create new, it will bring out where we are going to set our workspace, and we are going to make it 1080 by 1080 pixels. Then our resolution will be 300 and our color mode will be RGB color. Then the background will be white. The reason why it's RGB color is because we are not going to print it. It's a church flyer meant for social media purpose. So you click on your create and it will bring out your workspace. The first thing you have to do once you have your workspace is to bring in your background. So you click here, you get your background wherever you save it. I save my under documents, that is why I'm here. So I'm going to look for my background now and drag it to my Photoshop. So this is my background. Click on it and drag it to my Photoshop, and here is it. So I'm going to hold my shift and drag it up a bit. I'm going to drag it up to fit in. Then I will leave my shift key and now drag it down. I think this is now okay. This is okay. Then we'll click here. The next thing is to bring in another image. So the next thing we are going to be doing is to bring in image. So we'll click here. I'll get the particular image. This is the image I want to use. Click on it and drag it to my Photoshop, and here is it. So this class is mainly for beginners, so I'm going to be explaining every bit step. Any step I take, I'm going to be explaining it. So I'll click here. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is let me change the blending color from normal to, let me take it to, let's check lighter color. So when you click on lighter color, the next is to create, we are going to click here to create a clipping to add a layer mask. So we'll click here to add a layer mask. Then we'll click here. You will select your gradient to click on it, and now we are going to do, the reason for this is just to make it blend with the background. There are many ways you can do this, but I love using this particular method. You can still use your lasso tool and do it, but I just love using this particular method. So now we've done that, the next thing we are going to do now is to reduce the opacity. Let me reduce the opacity to, let's make it 22. The opacity we want to reduce it is now 22, so I think it's okay. Then we are also going to reduce the fill. Let's make it to be around 70 something. Yeah, I think it's okay like this. We made it to be 72. So the next thing we are going to do now is I want to bring in something here. So I'll just click on my I will just go and get the image I want to use. So this is the image. I'll click on it and bring it to my Photoshop, drag it in here. Then I want it to be very small. I don't want it to be that big because I just want to fix it here. So I think here is okay. So I'm also going to add a layer mask. I'll click here to add it, then I'll still select my gradient tool again and now do this. The reason is to remove the line and make it blend with the background at the edge. There are a lot of ways you can still do this, but I just love using this particular method. So I'm going to also change the blending mode. I'm going to change the blending mode from normal to, let's use overlay. Yeah, I think this is okay. Let's use overlay. This is so perfect. So right now, the next thing we are going to be doing is to write our text. So let me first of all bring our logo, but before we put all of that, I want us to add something like a guideline, a ruler that can help us to align our work very well. So you go to your view, you click on view, you scroll down to new guide layout, you click on it, and then it will bring out this box. You can set your own to anyhow you want it, but mine is always on 0.2 whenever I'm working with this particular size. So I'll click on OK. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring in my logo. So this is, I'll click here, I'll go and find my logo wherever I saved it. So this is the logo I want to use. I'll drag it to my Photoshop, bring it here. So I'm going to resize it. I want it to be small. So I'm still going to reduce the size. Yeah, I think this is okay. This is okay. So I'll click on OK. Then the next thing I'm going to be adding is I want to add something here so that it will cover this. So I'll go straight to where I save all my pictures. I think I want to use, the name is paper. Let me just go and get it from here. I'll go to my file, go to place embedded. If you like, this is another way you can import something into your workspace, whether a picture or a background. So I'm going to use this method, workspace. You click, you type the name of this I want to use is ripped paper. This is it here, ripped paper. Then I'll click on place, then it will show up here. I want to bring it down. I want to bring it down here. So I want to bring it down here. Since it's already down the way I want it, but then I don't like how it's being placed, so I'll rotate it a bit. I want it to look equal. So now we've placed it just the way we want it. I want the color to be white, so for me to add a white color here, I'll just go straight to here. I'll click on it. I'll go to solid color, then I'll choose white color. I want a very sharp white, very white. So I'll now click on OK. Then I'll right click on it and then go to create a clipping mask here. I'll click on it, so it's now white just how we want it. So the next thing I'm going to be adding now is I want to add something like a line here, but I don't want to use line. I'll be using my triangle, so I'll click on the triangular tool. I'll come here, I'll draw this. This is the kind of line I want to use, something like this. This is okay. This is okay. So what I'm going to do is I will not click on I'll cancel the fill. I don't want it to have any inner color. Then the stroke will be white color. Then I will increase the stroke line to, let's say, about, I think 5 should be okay. Let me type it manually here. I think 7 is okay. So, and that is it. I think 7 is okay. So, but then I want to change the way of the line, so I'll click here and use this particular lining method. I think this is now okay. It's cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is now I want to rasterize it. I'll rasterize the layer. Then I'll click here. I want to kind of cut all of this up. You can zoom it if you like. You can zoom it so that you get it exactly. So this is it. Then we'll delete, and then we'll click Ctrl D to deselect. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to type in the name of this particular church here. So I'll just click on my text tool, click on it, click on my workspace. Let me reduce it. I think this is too big. Let me reduce it to 14. So click on my workspace and I will type. I'll be back once I'm done typing. So now I'm back. I'm done typing this. So what we are going to do now is I want to change the font. So I'll come here. I want to choose a recent font I use. So I'll click here. Then the name of the font I'll be using is Bars New. I'll put the name on the description so that you can download it and install it on your laptop. Okay, so you click on the font and this is how the font looks like. And let's increase the size. Let's make it 14. I think this is cool. This is okay. Then let's change here to 75. I think with that way it will be more bold. So now let's move it to the edge. I want it to be more close to this, so I think this is cool. Let's move it up. You see what the alignment does for you. It helps you align all your work perfectly well. This is it. So let it be here while we move this more up. While I move this up, yeah, so this, I'll click on this and take it up a bit. I want it to be more up. I'll bring it up, but then I don't want it to be touching the edge here. So because of that, I'm going to click on this again. I'm going to click on the rectangular mask tool and still cut off some, like 2 lines is okay. I'll click on my delete and I'll click Ctrl D to deselect. So I think I still have some particles there. Yeah, Ctrl D to deselect. What is happening over there? It's refusing to clean or what? Ctrl D. Okay, So let me bring it down a bit so that I can clean it up well. So let me take it up just how I want it to be. So I think this is perfect now. The next thing we are going to be doing is to start adding the, let's add some other text. So we are going to type now, and I'll be back once I'm done typing. So now what we're going to do now is I want to change the name of the font I'll be using here is called Photographer Signature. So I'll just find it here. You can install it on your system, Photographer Signature, and let's make it bigger. Let's make it 16. I think 16 is okay. Yeah, I think this is okay like this. So let's change the color. Now we want to change the color code. Okay, we want to change the color of this particular text. So I'll click here and I'll put in my color code. I'll call it for you in case if you want to use it. I'll put it. So this is FFC502. That's the color code I'm using. Okay, you can use it if you want to replicate this particular design. When you put, so now we've added everything to this. The next thing we'll be doing is to type worship. So you click on your text tool, then we'll type, and I'll be back once I'm done typing. So now I'm done typing, but it's on, I'm still using this particular font. So I'm going to change the font to, let me still use the first font we use. This is the font I use, Babas Neo. I don't know, I think that is the right pronunciation. So when I click on it, and I'm going to change the size. Let me increase the size to 60. No, this is too big. Let me just type in the size. Let me use something like 55. I think 55 is cool. So now I've made it 55. I will reduce here to 50. This is still big. Let me just use 40. So this is 40. So the next thing I'm going to do is to this is still big, so let me just remove it. Let me just remove everything, and here let's make it 48. There is no need, whatever that is there is still okay. So now I have my worship just the way I want it. I'll bring it down here. So but I don't want this color, I'm going to change it to white color. Okay, click here, then I'll select this particular white I've used before. It's not getting the kind of white I want. So this is the white I want to use. I'll select this white, and we are good to go. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to, I'm trying to write worship night, but then I want it to be in a very beautiful way, you know. I just want it something to spice up our design. So this is it. I'm going to click here. So I'm going to type my N. I'm going to click on my text tool, click here, then I'll type my capital letter N. So now I type my N. What I'm going to do is to change the font here. The name of the font I want to use now, this is the only place I'm going to use this font because I just want it to have something looking that way. Okay, so it's Billing Angel Font. That's the name, Billing Angel Font. You click on it, so it has changed just the way I want it to be, and I'm going to increase the size to 70. I think this is small. I want it to be really big. Don't worry, you will see the outcome. It will be very beautiful. So this is 90. I've made it 90, and I think this is okay. So let me bring it to somewhere here. somewhere here is okay. So I want to change the color to yellow, or better still, I don't want to use yellow. Let me use something. I want to add some kind of thing to it. So I'll just click here, click on my text, click on where I save my pictures. Sorry, not test. Saying test is slip of tongue. So I'll come here, I'll get any of them I want to use. Which one do you think it's better? Let me use this. I'll drag it to my Photoshop, bring it here. Then I want to make it very small so that it will just fit into my N. So then I'll click on it. I'll right click on it. When I right click on it, I'll click on create a clipping mask. You see the magic, and it just fits in. So the next thing we are going to do now is to still add another text. I'll click here and then I'll type. So let me change the font here before. So I'm still using the first font we used, Bubasnia Abi. How do I even pronounce it? So then the next thing I'm going to do is to reduce the size, because this is actually too big. Let's make it something like 30. But I think 30 is big. So let me change it to 29.71. But then I want to drag it up a bit. I'll hold my shift key and then I'll click here and then I'll drag it up a bit. I want it to be a bit up. So I think this is okay. So this is cool. This is cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is to change the color. I'll change the color to white. I want it to have a white color. This is it. Then let me make it bold. Let me make it bold. So I think this is okay. But then let me hold my shift and still reduce it from up. So I think this is okay now. I'll click here. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I want to add lightning effect here. So before I'll do that, let me go, and there is something I clicked out before, so I'll click here so that it will start showing. This is actually, so this is not allowing me to drag some things around, so that is why I turned it off before. But let me turn it on now because I want to put the lightning effect and I really want to see how it's going to look like. Let me turn it off and arrange my design before adding it again. So let me take this up a bit. Yep, I think this is wonderful. This, I'm going to take it. Let me just select the 3. For you to select that, what I'm going to do is to click on my shift key, click here, click this, and then I'm moving them up. I've selected all of them and I'll move it up together because I don't want to start arranging it afresh. So I'm moving it up together. With that way, it's very simple. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I want to add a lightning effect here. I'll click here, I'll get my lightning effects. I'm looking for the particular light I used. I think this is okay. I'll click on it and drag it to my Photoshop, and here is it. So for us to get it to fit in well here too, I'll just change the blending mode to screen. This is screen, you see, and then I want to reduce it because I think it's too much. I want to reduce it. So but then I want you go to your image, but before you do that, make sure you click on this arrow so that it can work. So I'll go to my image, I'll go to filter, click on your filter, then click on blur, then you select your Gaussian blur. When you select your Gaussian blur, let's reduce it a bit. I don't want it to be this much, but I don't want, so let's see. So I think this is okay. So we are going to go back to our filter. We'll click on blur. Then when you click on blur, you scroll down to your Gaussian blur, and is okay this way, 5.6. Then you click on OK. So now we've added our lightning effects. I'm going to be using two different lightning effects. Okay, so I'll just scroll down and get the other one wherever it is. So this is the particular lightning effect I use. I'll just click on the light and I'll drag it to my Photoshop, and here is it. So now we have it here. I'll still change the blending mode to screen. So now I've changed it to screen. I'm going to reduce the size, yeah, then I'll bring it here. Then I'll click here, and we are done with the lightning effect. I'm going to bring in something like a guitar or something, just to spice up our design. So this is the particular guitar I want to use. I'll click on it and drag it to my Photoshop, and here is it. Then I'll click here. Then I want to bring it up, but I think it's okay like this. Then I'll click on Magic Wand 2. When I click on Magic Wand 2, just click on Magic Wand 2, then click on Select Object. I'm just trying to remove the background. So that is one of the ways of removing background in Photoshop. Okay, there are so many ways you can remove background, but I think this is one of the simplest ways you can do that. So next thing I'm going to do is to click on Ctrl J to duplicate it, and now I've duplicated it. I will scroll down to where it is. This is the first layer. This is the, so I'll click on this one, that is the one below it, and I will delete it. So now I've deleted it. The only thing I duplicated was the image of the guitar without the background. So this is it. I'll resize it. I want to bring it to somewhere here, so I'll rotate it, but then I want it to be above every other thing. I want it to be above, so I'm going to come here. I'll drag it up. I don't really want to do much with it. It's just to add it here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want the both lightning effect to be above all of them. Okay, so I'll just click on my shift key and select the two lightning effects, and I'll drag it up. So now I've placed it above this. Now I've placed it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to be adding the theme of this particular program. The reason what the theme. Okay, I'll click on my text tool and I'll click here and I'll type. I'll be back once I'm done typing. So now we are done typing. I would like to change the color. I want it to have a kind of yellow color. Okay, so I'll just click here on the color box and I'll select this particular color. This is the yellow we are using. Okay, then I'll click on OK. Then I want this to be above every other thing, so I'm going to drag it up. I didn't supposed to bring it here at the first place, so I want to drag it up. So this is the text here. So but if I want to drag it up now, it's going to come here. So I want to reduce the size, and we are still using the same font. Okay, so we are still using the same font. What I'm going to do now is to reduce the size because it's too big. It's too big. So let's reduce it to 8, and I think here let's make here 25. I think this is cool. This is cool. This is cool. So I'm going to bring it up a bit. So this is cool here. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to, but then I'll still add some other things. But now, as for now, the next thing I want to do is let me quickly bring in the images of the guest speaker and the rest of them. So I'll be clicking here to bring in my image. I'll take it up. So this is the image I want to use. I'll drag it to my Photoshop. So this is the image. I'll click here. So then there is no background because I've used this image before. So because of that, I'll just resize it to the particular size I want. But then I want it to be under the paper, so I'm going to bring the paper down. So I'll just drag it down. You see, I've taken it down. So now it's here. So this is actually the guest speaker. So I'll resize it. So now I have the image just how I want it. The next thing I'm going to do is to right click on the image. But before I will right click on it, I'll click on my Ctrl T. When I click on Ctrl T, click on Ctrl T. So now I have my image here. The next thing I'm going to click is my Ctrl T. Then I'm going to right click on it and then flip horizontal. You see the magic. Then I'll click here and I'll be making it bigger because he's actually the note that this crusade or program does not host anywhere. It's just for the purpose of learning. So but you know, I want him to be the head, like the person in charge. Okay, so this is it. I think we are good to go like this. But then I want to add some effects to this particular design to still import other images I'll be using. So I'll click here and I'll get them. This is one of them. I'll bring it here. It has a background, so I'll click on my Magic Wood tool. When you click on Magic Wood tool, it will bring out this. You click and select object. We'll select object, and when it's done loading, so the next thing now is to click on Ctrl J, that is to duplicate, and I'll come down here and delete the one under. Meanwhile, we still have this, so I will now click on this and I will resize it to the perfect size I want. So this is it here. So I'll be bringing in another image. I'll bring in this particular image, draw it down to my Photoshop, bring it here. and remove the background also with the same method, and I'll click here and then I'll duplicate it. Then I'll click on my Ctrl J to duplicate. I'll click here, delete the down one, and we are going to be making use of this. So now I've added all my image. The next thing I'll be doing now is to add the same effect. I want to work on all the images just the same way I did to this. So I will just click on my filter and I'll go to my camera raw and I'll do just the same thing I did before. So I'm going to work on all the images. I just want to work on some things, and the contrast, let me increase it a bit, and the highlights and the white colors and black. Let me increase the black. So I'll click on OK, and this is it. I've worked on this particular image. So I'll do the same thing to Mercy Chinwe's picture, and I'll be back once I'm done with that. So now I've done the same thing for all the images. The next thing we are going to do now is just to add few text, and we are done. Okay, just to add the location, the date, and that will be all. So but before we do that, we have to write the names of these pastors. So for us to type the name, I'll just click on my text tool and I'll click here. So I'm going to type the name and I'll be back once I'm done typing. Okay, stay tuned. Changing the font I used there. The name of the font I'll be using here is Great Vibe. So I'll be changing the font to Great Vibe. So then I want to change the color to yellow. Let me select yellow. I'll be using this particular yellow. This is how you can select the color you want to use. So for it to show very well, I want to make it, let me give it a drop down shadow. So that is another way to make it more visible. I will double click on it on the layer part. When I double click on it, it will bring out this. Then I'll click on drop down shadow. Let me increase here. No, let me reduce the distance and increase the spray. No, I think this is too big, but then let me increase the opacity. So let me reduce the opacity and click on, then I want to increase the size, so let me increase it to 10. I think 10 is okay. So now I've increased it to 10. I'll just bring it here. She's a guest minister. Then I'll duplicate it, Ctrl J, duplicate it, and then bring it to here. I'll bring it to here. Then for this daddy, I'll also duplicate, Ctrl J, it has duplicate, I'll bring it here too. But then I will now click on my text tool to edit it. Here's the guest speaker. So I'll just click on this and I'll drag it down. I'll bring it here, but before I'll bring it, okay, let me bring it here before changing the color. So I'll click on the box inside it, on the text layer. So I'll double click inside it, and no, let me cancel it. I'll double click inside it and I want to change the color. So I'll click on color overlay. There are different ways you can do that, but I just want to use this method because it's faster, and not really faster, but let me just use it. So this is it. I'll bring this up a bit. So I want to duplicate it again. I want to have it like into 2. Yeah, into 2. Control J, and I've duplicated it. I'll just drag it to the other end. Let me use my mouse. So for me to do that, I'll just drag it here. I think here is okay. Here is okay. Here is fine. It's cool. Then I'll bring this other one. So with 3 of them being like this, now what I'm going to do is to add the date. I'll just click on my text tool, click here, then I'll type. The date is, let's say, Friday. So now I'm done typing this. I had to reduce this paper so that I can bring these particular ones down. So I'm going to click on this. Let me just click on this one. Sorry. Oh, I don't know what is wrong with my mouse. So I'll drag it, I'll bring it down a bit. I think it's too close to Macy. It's too close to her mouth, so I want it to be down a bit. Then I'll bring this also, I'll bring it down a bit. After which I'll click on this. Do the same thing for all of them. I want this to have some kind of different colors. So I'll just click on it, click on my text tool. I'll come here, I'll click here, then I'll select only the Friday. Only the Friday, that is the only thing I'm going to select there, and I'll change the color to yellow. No, it's not visible enough. If I change the color to yellow, they can't see it very well. So I think this color is okay. I just picked a color on our workspace. Okay, so I'll just click OK. So I also want to change the color of the tents. So I'll just click here, I'll select this, then I'll come here, I'll still select this color, choose the same color, and we are good to go. So the next thing, I want to add another text here, guys. So I want to add the venue. Yeah, let's add the venue. So you just add any phone number. I don't want to add any contacts. Okay, I don't want to add, you can just add your own contacts or anything. So I think we are almost done. Do you know why I say almost? We are done. We are almost done because there are things, whenever you are done making your designs, always look through it and ask yourself, what is it that I've not added to this design? So as for this particular design, I want to add a color, a drop down shadow on it. So I'll just click on it, double click on the text layer. When I double click on it, it will bring it here. So I want to add a drop down shadow, so but I don't want it to be that visible. Okay, so I think this is okay. So what about the distance? What if we increase the distance a bit? No, this is okay. This is okay. This is okay. So I'll now click on OK. So I'll click on this. This is maybe I should also turn this off so that it can allow us know what we are doing. anything that is distracting us, we'll turn it off. Then later on we can on all of them. So I'll also double click on the text layer, double click on it and click on drop down shadow, and I'll click on OK. Double click on it again, click on drop down shadow. I'm adding the same shadow effect because I've set it with the first one. I've done the setting how I want it to be, so I'll just be double clicking on them. Oh, this is where you double click at the end here, so it will bring this. I'll click on the drop down shadow for this particular, you see without it how it looks with it. So let me reduce the opacity for this because it has too much black. I'll click on OK, then I'll click on this present, double click on it because I'm just obsessed with this drop down shadow because of the way it gives my design that natural look, making it look so, you know, I don't know how to explain though, but I'm just obsessed with it. I love giving my text drop down shadow. So for this one, it's very small, so we are going to reduce it. We'll reduce everything for the smaller text. Okay, see, it made this to pop out more. That is what it does. That's what it does. So this, I don't think we should give this, or do you think so? Tell me what you think on the comment section. Do you think we should give this a drop down shadow, or we'll just let it be? So just tell me. So as for this particular one, double click on it, give it a drop down shadow, and let's reduce it. Let's also reduce the, okay, I think this is okay, this is okay. So I think this is okay. Let's do the same for this though. No, I think it's okay like this. I think we are done. So you already know how you can save your design and export them, but if you don't know, just tell me at the comment section. Anyway, let me just show you. Let me quickly show you. So now we are done putting everything in our design. So we are going to turn on all those things that we turned off before we export and also before we save. Okay, like the lights here. So we are going to find them one after the other. These are the lights. So you just click on it and it shows up and it pops up. So we are going to find them one after the other and turn them on. This is it. This is this one. You remember our reason for removing it then was because it was distracting us. Okay, so this is it. Now you've turned it on, you can now click on, if you want to save it, you just, let me teach you how to save. For those of you that don't know how to save, as I said at the beginning of this class, that this class is actually meant for beginners and also advanced. Okay, I just want the beginners not to feel left behind. So I'm going to click here, click on the file, go to save. I've saved it before, so I'll go to save as. I saved it as a church YouTube, which is YT. I'll just click on save. So I'll click on OK. So now I want to export it. I'll go to my file, click on file, go to export. When I click on export, I'll come to export as. When you click on export as, you give it some time to load. Okay, you're going to give it some time to load. Don't just click on export all. But before you export, always make sure that it's on PNG. Make sure that it's on PNG. Okay, then you click on export all. When you click on export all, always know where your work is being saved. I'm saving mine under documents. Sometimes it might go to another place, but make sure you click on the place you want it to save, whether your documents, your download, just anywhere you want to save it. So I will now click on save. Click on yes, because I've exported it before. I just want to show you this. Okay, so this is it. We are done for this. Don't forget to tell me if you enjoyed this class. Don't forget to tell me at the comment section and tell me what next you would like me to be teaching you in this.
I so much love this particular church flyer design because you can use it for so many kind of church invitation. Okay, you can use it for so many things. That's why I love this flyer. Thank you so much for sticking around to watch my video. See you in the next video. My name is Elijah Comfort. Thank you.